new camera angle, I guess. Just trying this out. It won't be here for the whole video. Oshi no Ko is like one of them shows that like you would have never caught me watching back in like 2017 when I first started watching anime again type shit. Back then, anime was really just fight scenes and like transformations, if that makes sense. Because I was just watching nothing but shonen at the time. It's like a reflection of what I was watching, like my thought process. It's crazy that like big 2024, me of all niggas, covering the season 2 of a show about like acting and J-pop and shit. Like it's shit's wild. After season 1 of Oshi no Ko, I was like, damn, there's no way this is anime of the year damn near. Season 1 did a phenomenal job at like kind of establishing the core cast of characters and giving them enough challenge to essentially let them grow each episode, if that makes sense. Also, I think it did a pretty nice job at progressing the 2 main goals of the show. Ruby's goal to honor her mom, and try to like sell out a dome. Aqua's goal to smoke the nigga that set up his OG. And after season 1 was all said and done, I kind of wonder like, how much better could this show actually get? Gangsta, let's find out. We talk about season 2 today.
Love you forever, but sometimes we seem to disagree. Pray that you protect her and increase my sympathy. I'm a mini you, one day I'll have a mini me. I'm your son, I shouldn't treat you like an enemy. I get annoyed when you point out all my tendencies.
So, the little Tokyo Blade arc as a whole was fire, my nigga. I didn't really expect them to fully flesh out like the full like play making or play creating process, if that makes sense. Like obviously, it makes sense to go like through the rehearsals where like niggas' mindsets were before the play, and like seeing them each individually try to own their respective roles type shit. But I did not expect them to go as far as like showing like the mangaka herself and like kind of butting heads with the playwright himself and having this conflict pertaining to the balance of the source material manga that the play was based off of, versus just like converting and writing a good watchable play based off the material and making drastic changes to it, if that makes sense.
今からでも直してもらえますか?
もちろんですが、どのあたりを?
全部.
Bro, when I seen this shit the first time, shit was so fucking funny, cause she really sat there watching these niggas act this out in awe, fool. And she say, oh my God, you guys are so wonderful at acting. And then she turned to the playwright, eyes wide open and standing like Ashton Denty in the backfield, and said, but this writing is horse ass. like, damn, nigga, it's the first episode. It's one of those. That's what we own, G. The crazy thing about both the manga author 𝐴𝐵𝐾 and the scriptwriter 𝐥𝐢𝐤, like their perspectives, is like no one is really in the wrong for real. I mean, obviously, 𝐴𝐵𝐾 is like carry herself like a child in that manner. She could have delivered that a little better and maybe not take it all out on 𝐥𝐢𝐤 because he's not like at fault for real, like to keep it a being. But a creator does have a right to be mad if their source material is being like disrespected in their eyes, and if they don't feel like their frustrations are being heard about the script writing process. Like that's perfectly valid. And 𝐥𝐢𝐤, on the other hand, just wrote what he could based off his past experiences and the messages that he got from his editors, which was far from the original messages that 𝐴𝐵𝐾 had. But by the time it got to him, it went through a chain of people, and the original message that 𝐴𝐵𝐾 had was like completely different from what they filtered it down to be. You can't blame her for like actually voicing specifically what she doesn't like about the script if it never got to him how like she said it. And you can't blame him for writing the script based off of that watered down message and unclear message that he received. This could have easily been like avoided if they just communicated directly, but that's not how it works in like Hollywood and like play script and playwriting and shit like that, or like turning manga into media. That's not how it works, apparently, from what I learned from the show, because I ain't really know that shit myself. I like how they resolved it, too. It's cool to see that 𝐴𝐾e played, like, a part in getting Aqua to truly see, like, 𝐴𝐾e really, like, she really put all this shit in motion, for real. Her trying to get Aqua to truly see how beautiful, like, theater is, and then Aqua, like, seeing that play and seeing 𝐥𝐢𝐤 wrote that play, and he enjoyed that shit so much. And once that happened, that nigga Aqua started making plays, folks. My nigga Aqua was making plays this season. The scene, bro, oh, my God. The scene was Sensei, the shorty that made the show that Melt like bombed on. Sensei pulled up to 𝐴𝐵𝐾's house, and seeing her like running on fumes and shit hit a little different for me personally. I'm not gonna lie. Now I'm about to yap a little bit, but I promise you this is extremely on topic because I'm just comparing myself to her. This scene that 𝐴𝐵𝐾 and Sensei were having is literally the same conversation I had with my OG a while ago. Me and 𝐴𝐵𝐾 have very, very similar ideologies when it comes to what we do as creators. If any of you have been subbed to me for over 2 years, first off, thank you so much, gang. You're a real one. And second off, what the fuck is wrong with you? But my fault. If any of y'all been subbed for the past 2 years, you can see that I've kind of had like a kind of wild like output rate, especially for like the videos, the type of videos that I do. Like no bullshit, I did not go outside. Like literally. I used to watch a show, script for the video, edit, and then post and damn it all same day. If it's like a 12 episode show, and if I couldn't post it all on the same day, I just wouldn't sleep until it was finished. Like that's kind of how I operated. And I kept this kind of schedule up for like 2.5 years, and it's just super unhealthy. For like, I would not recommend anybody do this shit. To the point where I would unconsciously put in like 6 to 8 hours of editing and scripting a day. That even goes from like for my longer videos, like my 𝐤𝐥𝐤𝐞 review, my AOT review, those videos like 40, 50 minutes long. And even the Dragon Balls, that's like, latest one was like 1:30. I would do that shit every day unconsciously and like wouldn't be caring about my health at all. Actually, there was one time I was really sick working on that 𝐤𝐤𝐞 video. I edited that video for damn near weeks. And I remember even, it was like my birthday in that span of time, which I don't really care about anyway, to keep it a bean. I think it's just another day. That's it, neither here nor there. I literally didn't do anything but sit there and edit for another 6 to 8 hours and ignored the fact that it was my birthday, like completely. Like, it just went by that fast. And I'm doing all this myself, like pumping out all these videos while I'm still making music, trying to promote it and posting short form content on my music and my YouTube across several platforms, like trying to promote shit. Like I'm doing a very big amount of work in a small amount of time. You feel me? That's kind of what I'm saying in all this. 𝐴𝐵𝐾 is doing the exact same shit that I was doing. So I guess it was kind of like healing. It sounds so crazy watching the anime here. Like it ain't that deep, right? But nah, real shit though. It kind of felt like it was healing. That's what it really was. It's healing in the sense to see like how my unhealthy habits can have an effect on someone else that's like just looking at me, and just kind of seeing what I look like from my OGs and a lot of my close homies that talk to me and like be like, you need to cut that shit out. Like from their perspective, like it's crazy. Shit, I even made a song about this. If anybody that's in a similar situation and like feels like that, call help, by the way. I'll link it down in the description if anybody wants to check it out. Anyway, it's wild how much this scene really showed me about myself. Me and 𝐴𝐵𝐾 were so locked into this, like, I need to get this done and I'm going to do everything by myself mindset, that we kind of just ignored the world and our own personal health in the process. And it's really a blessing that she has sensei, the same way that I have my OG and my brothers and my sisters and my close homies to like step in and tell us like, hey, yo, this shit ain't good for you. You need to care for yourself. This scene in particular is one of the 2 scenes that made me actually like face some of my personal problems for. Like, this shit was actually spectacular. I love this scene. Bro, I love how Aqua gave her a ticket to go see that same play, because man, that one action saved the entire production. And I like how this action snowballed and led her into talking with Ryder. Ryder really having her face reality of her play script is like not gonna be that good because she's not a playwright. Speaking of the talk with Ryder,
こっちはジジイのの1本や2本る覚悟で仕事してるんです
Gang, what the f did you just say? Nah, wait a minute, man. No job in the universe should have you willing to mouthwork some old and withered wee-wee like that, bro. Like, relax, man. There's no job that pays that well, brother. Nah, send this nigga to the Diddy party for this nigga Ryder freaky. But anyway, all this happening resulted in them like actively working together, like 𝐴𝐵𝐾 and 𝐤𝐤 actively working together and making the script, which is probably what should have happened in the first place. They should have had 𝐴𝐵𝐾 and 𝐤𝐤 just, you know, talking directly anyway. But now 𝐤𝐤 understands why she was so mad at his script, and 𝐴𝐵𝐾 has seen 𝐤𝐤's script writing brilliance firsthand, and now she wants that same feel for her manga. Boom, problem solved. Little communication, little game. I think the episode was called Game of Telephone, if I'm not mistaken, which is kind of raw. It's raw how they did that. Back to the actors with the new script, and now they low on time, and now the script is good, so the show is really entirely up to them. It's really up to them to like own their roles as these characters, and I love this sequence leading up to the play as well. But I think we all know what specific part about this sequence that I want to talk about personally. Nigga, that whole emotional acting scene for Aqua was godlike and unexpected.
アクアくん、もしお母さんが死んじゃったらどうする？
Bro, when Kana leaned in and asked him this exact question, my brain was like, oh, like literally. See, Kana, unfortunately, my mom is dead, so thanks. I appreciate it, actually. But all jokes aside, everything that followed this was absolutely spectacular. Aqua has been a pretty cool and composed nigga for pretty much the entire show at this point, aside of like when he first seen I die, which is expected. He's a kid, obviously. During this sequence, we got to see more of a human side of this nigga. And when Kana told him to think of what makes him happy, he actually did it. And this showed us like one of the very few times like we seen this nigga smile. We don't see that very often from Aqua. But when this nigga in their voice said, "Don't you dare enjoy yourself," and they showed the symbolism of like a black figure, which symbolizes negativity probably, grabbing him and kind of like burning the image of his mother's dying smile to his head, my nigga, my jaw dropped completely. And then to even further the intensity of this scene, they showed him kind of lose that composure that he's known for having at this point. And it really made this scene like spectacular. It made this scene like stick with me a lot. Bro, I already like Aqua as a character, but this just makes him even better because he shows like the flaws in his mindset and the way he lives and his ideologies. I'm sorry to be my brother, we have to bond ass nigga, but do you know how like relevant this shit is in the black community? Like, dead ass here, like no joke here. Aqua suffers from PTSD. He pretended to heal from it so other people don't worry about him. Boy, if this ain't me, I don't know what the fuck is. Like, dead ass. Two things I'ma do is act like the pain don't exist, and I'm damn sure not gonna show you that I'm going through it. This whole time, I was just screaming at the screen like, you just like me for real. When he said not to alert his sister because he don't want her to think about her past pain and she should just look towards the future, indirectly meaning that he's gonna shoulder that burden by himself and not tell anybody about the pain, I was like, you just like me for real. And then when he started like blaming himself for shit that was completely out of his control, letting that inner negativity kind of convince him that it was all his fault, I was like, yo, you just like... This is the other scene that kind of gave me like a therapeutic vibe when it comes to like talking about it and just watching it, because the mindsets that these characters have are along the mindsets that I actually live with while my day. Like, no bullshit. And shout out to Akane, bro. Akane played that role in this whole ordeal too. I need me and Akane in my life, fool, personally. She definitely got a lot of shine this season, but we'll talk about that after I cover the play itself. Speaking of, the actual Tokyo Play stage production was so cool, bro. Because at this point, we're kind of looking out for like two stories here, because there's a lot of conflict and tension building up to like this whole show, right? You got Aqua trying to achieve happiness and actually be able to live without like his past trauma hindering him. And leading up right before this play, the nigga was still throwing up in the makeup room. Kana and Akane are in this like little rivalry where they both like secretly admire each other and they think so highly of each other, but they won't say it, and they both want to outperform each other, indirectly making each other better as actors and making the performance better overall. Mel is trying to overcome his self-doubt after shitting the sheets on Sweet Today, that's the name of the show, while getting bullied by a nigga on the cast. And I don't know how my goof ass forgot about this, but the creator of Sweet Today is there in the audience, and she hates this nigga for sticking up the place with her work, which is, you know, is justified. And he's just trying to impress her too. There's a lot riding on this performance and the story of the play itself and how they channel these problems into their roles. They do that to make this show good, and they have to put on a good show. That's another part of the story you gotta think about. The performance itself was amazing. I like how they pretty much showed us every part of the play. We got the like actual story of the play, like we were in the audience, but we got as behind the scenes as you could possibly get. Mel's fight scene was pretty cool too, man. I really liked the advice Aqua gave him. It made a lot of sense. If you're naturally good at something, instead of trying to improve on everything at once, it's better to just zero in on something you shine at to stand out, and then trying to grow all your other skills over time. And that's exactly what he did. That nigga turned to Sin Cara, put on the show his athletic ability, nigga was stupid. The visuals in this scene were so spectacular, by the way, man, like, oh my god. Oshi no Ko does a phenomenal job at like visualizing like these emotional breakthroughs niggas be having, and man, this is a really good example of that. The Kana versus Akane scene was like done super well too. It's really just like the way people said in the show. It really just shows like every single aspect of their respective personalities just like clash through their acting. Kana has hella showmanship, and she does a really good job expressing herself under the spotlight when the spotlight is on her. When she's the focus, she shines a lot. But at first, she was kind of like backing down to like make the play more digestible, I guess. But Akane and Aqua knew this, and they knew that that's not what she wanted to do at the end of the day. So Aqua pretty much showed her through his actions like mid-scene and basically said, hey, leave the filling in shit to me. You go out there and shine like you supposed to do, you goofy. And she did. And we learned a little bit more about her upbringing as a result, too. Aqua's defining scene in this Playboy, oh, man, it was well done. Masterpiece, if I might say. And I like how the writing ain't make this shit all rainbows and butterflies. Like, nah. This nigga ended up taking a horrible route. This route is super unhealthy that he took. So instead of using acting as like this positive outlet to get out emotions, to vent out his trauma, he literally uses acting to remind himself of trauma, like remind himself of the trauma so he can stay locked in on his goal to smoke that nigga that set up I. He just like me. This is really good character writing, because there was no way that Aqua was just gonna have a sudden turnaround like that when he had this hate and malice in his heart since that day that I died. Like, it's been too long. There's no way you just turn around and getting convinced like that. The scene where the princess got revived and he played his imagination of him as a kid, and then they turned the camera around and I was sitting there alive. Oh my God. The nigga's blacked on this bitch, folks. Like, oh my God. This scene is absolutely beautiful, folks. I don't want my heart to feel anything. I'm not gonna lie. That's a horrible thing to say. I don't want my heart to feel anything. But shit, this even got me on a rewatch of this shit. And this shit was just godlike, bro. Absolute cinema peak, bro. The wind down for the Tokyo Blade play was raw too, because they definitely had some surprises still in store. I always wonder why this was Aqua's move, like specifically. Cause I know, his goal is to, work his way through like Hollywood essentially to meet execs and find out who truly set up I. But I always wonder why this play specifically. I thought Aqua was just trying to get his name out so he get more opportunity, so he can meet more directions and shit. But nah, this is a mission. He knew what he wanted before he even stepped foot on that stage. When I found out that him and the lead actor would have siblings, I was like, whoa, wait a minute. Whoa, hold on. What's that Shaq mean? Nigga, excuse me? And then even more shocking news that his dad that he been looking out and getting revenge for died. Bro, like the storytelling didn't die down one bit. Gang. And another relatable scene, bro. When Aqua asked himself if it was okay to be happy and be free, man, go this scene, because it's wild. Because I be asking myself the same thing, and my brain be like, hell no, bitch ass nigga. My fault. That's unhealthy, bro. It's not. I shouldn't be laughing at this, but you good. The next part is the B Komachi trip, and this was amazing too. So first things first, we ain't see that much of Ruby so far in this season. But we get a lot of unexpected character development from her, like a lot of it. And seeing her further progress her goal for I is really cool. Watching them release a new original song under the 𝐵 moniker is really cool too. That date that Aqua had was kind of funny, G. Like, this nigga Aqua was smooth. Boy, he played the whole day like a G. This nigga is the 𝐤𝐤𝐤𝐤 of dates, my nigga, because he had everything covered. I think a meteor could have smacked them niggas. He would have found a backup plan and made that shit smooth. For like, Aqua really did his shit. He really a pimp for real. But like I said earlier, we gotta talk about Akane, because man, she held this nigga Aqua down, knowing that he manipulated her. Like, that's so wild. Like, I don't want to sound toxic, but shorty real. Like, bro, when Aqua asked her what would she do if she found out that he was only acting to kill someone, and then she locked in, looked at that nigga and said, I helped you kill them, I was like, yo, I need her, folks. Like, what you mean? She raw for that one. Like, that's real ride of that woman right there, folks. That's a real one. And man, I'm still thinking about that bridge scene, bro. Bro, Oshi no Ko got some nerve doing this shit. When Aqua was leaning over that bridge and Akane reached over and hugged them from behind and said, this is where you saved me. Man, what the like, this show's so wrong, bro. Excuse me, nigga. Man, that's such a raw way to like repurpose that iconic ass scene. Like, this shit was so crazy on the first watch. I had to stand up. Like, real shit. I had to. And then right when you thought this nigga Aqua was home free and he was on his way to a happy ending, Akane dropped the damn bombshell and letting us know that his father was still alive. And she didn't tell him. I'm like, damn. So he gonna figure out eventually. And then when Ruby visited I's grave and Big Aqua walked past her ass, I was like, damn, we're cooked. It's over. But towards the tail end of the trip, I kind of like how Aqua was like, I gotta cover her. Like, she too real, bro. I gotta hold her down. And gangsta, I feel you, folks. Shout out to Aqua for being a real nigga right there. The trip itself definitely built up a lot of hype for the next season, too, because they pretty much just set the play in motion completely. Everything I was thinking. We knew that they were going to have some desire to, like, reconnect with each other's, like, past self, like, the person they were in the past life. And it's looking like it's about that time. It's looking like it. Because when Ruby seen the dead body of that doctor and grabbed that keychain, I knew it's only up from here. I really wonder who that little girl is, though, and what's like her significance in the story and what does she represent. She was dropping hella hints. And she seemed like a omnipotent type of thing. Like, only like Ruby and Aqua see her. And then when she was shooting her scene in that music video in the water, and then they recreated like the little kid Aqua scene from the first episode, and she turned and showed that cold, evil look in her eyes, I'm not gonna lie. That hyped me up for sure, nigga. The Chicago nigga in me loves that energy. Loves it. Double down at the shrine, bro. Yes, sir, bro. I love how they ended the season with the actual music video, too, bro. Like, I really love what they did with this whole season. And the song was fire, too, by the way. I really love that song. And they teased us by showing their dad literally smoking someone else, too, bro. Like, we got some shit in store for us next season, man. And I'm not gonna lie. If they find a way to make this next season better than this one, this might be one of my favorite anime of all time. Like, no bullshit. But that's all for me, man. As always, man, I hope y'all have a great day, man. Love y'all, man. Peace.
Sometimes we seem to disagree. Pray that you protect her and increase my sympathy. I'm a mini you, one day I'll have a mini me. I'm your son, I shouldn't treat you like an enemy. I get annoyed when you point out